What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. If you've been here before, I'm NeonMushroom, and we're playing this deck right here into the Pandemonium Premodern Fall Series number 5 tournament. This is going to be round 2 of that tournament, so if you want to see a more in-depth deck explanation, you're going to want to look at the first video in the series, which was round 1. That'll be linked below. There will be a playlist once this video comes out, so you can check that out. But for anyone who just wants a quick refresher, this is a deck that uses the combo of Tireless Tribe and About Face. If you look at these two cards, it's obvious that with 5 cards in hand, you can make Tireless Tribe into a 1/21 per its own ability, then switch it at instant speed and deal 21 damage to your opponent as early as turn 2. There's also the whole Quiet Speculation package in this deck. I won't go into detail, but it's a ton of flashback cards that are great for mid-game value. Now, our opponent this round is playing a very much tier 1 deck. It's Darian Balser and his mono blue Stiflenought deck. I don't have a photo for you, unfortunately, but if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that mono blue Stiflenought is the combination of Phyrexian Dreadnought and the card Stifle, and the entire deck is supported by a cast of amazing blue permission spells and interactive spells along with card draw spells. That's everything you should need to know about this round, so let's hop into game number 1. Alright, getting into it, we're going to high roll, or odd or even in this case, and it's odd, which is what I called, so I'm going to win, and we're going to be on the play. Really good spot to be against the Dreadnought deck, as Daze is quite a bit worse if I can play my 1-drop ahead of the Daze, but we need to take a look at opening hands, and mine is, let's see here, it looks like we've got at least 1 land. I think that was an Undiscovered Paradise. Yeah, I'm putting it right back. That's the only mana source. I also don't know if I saw an About Face in there, so not quite as good as we need it to be. Trying to go for the About Face kill versus a deck that has access to foil is going to be very difficult. So we're both going to go to 6 here, and so we can see we've got Arrogant Wurm, a couple lands. Looks like that was an About Face plus Tireless Tribe. I think this hand's pretty interesting, and I'm going to keep it. We definitely can't just go for the About Face. All that said, it looks like Darian is going to mulligan, and Darian is actually, we had to cut ahead a little bit. He's mulliganing to 4 here, which is very good for me. He is at 4. Luckily, he's on the draw, so he gets back 1 of those resources, but he's going to be tempo negative. So I really like our spot going into game 1. And I did decide to keep this 6, which is very good. I'm interested in what I'm putting back here. We've already done it. I did not catch what I put back. We are going to play Undiscovered Paradise, drop a Tireless Tribe. Great turn 1. Also, the Paradise going back to hand can help us About Face combo. That said, on the mulligan, I don't even know that we would be able to go for it here. Yeah, we can't. We need a mana source. If we drop our whole hand and About Face, that will only be good for, what is it, like 17 damage, which isn't enough. So we're just going to get him with the Tireless Tribe, and I believe we'll just pass back to Darian, who's going to end stepped opt. What does he see here? Whatever he sees, he does not like. Probably looking for another land. If he went that deep in an 18 land deck, I bet he only kept 1 land, hoping to just find the second one off the top. And that's exactly what happened. He's going to pass back to us here, so we'll take a little draw. Luckily, we played City of Brass last turn, so we've got a land already in play. We get in for 1, and we're still going to refuse to About Face, even though this time I believe it would have worked. We'll play Undiscovered Paradise and pass. The reason we're not going for the About Face there is just because anything from foil to Daze here just blows us out. Not really interested in making that transaction, although it could have been correct to go for it, especially considering Darian is putting Phyrexian Dreadnought into play. He's also going to Stifle as opposed to Vision Charm. If he Vision Charmed, I'd probably have to let this go and just try to go for the kill, but I'm going to interact here. I'm going to tap for a some color because I'm losing a life, and I'm going to Sorge the Dreadnought with the Stifle on the stack. This seems very good for me if it resolves, but also Darian's going to gush in response. The issue is the About Face is basically dead if this Swords to Plowshares resolves, because his life total is going to be so high. I'm going to need like, what, 8, 9 cards in hand in order for About Face to be lethal, and we're already on a mulligan to 6. This does resolve. Darian's going to go up to just such a high life total. He's at 18 right now, plus he's like 30 life right now, which is insane. So then we are going to untap. We're going to not return that Undiscovered Paradise. It was not tapped on our turn, so at least we're on 3 mana. Play a Gemstone Mine. All of our lands make every single color, which can be good. This Gemstone Mine tends to implode, but usually this deck just tries to end the game before that becomes a problem. We're swinging for 1, and I do not think Darian cares. I'm going to flash in Arrogant Wurm before passing the turn because he did gush, so Daze isn't an option. That means that foil is the only option Darian has. We get in, we deal damage. That doesn't really matter here because of his life total. He plays Island and passes. We're going to get our Undiscovered Paradise back and swing in for 5. This attack for 5 leaves him still above his starting life total. So we've got quite a bit of distance to go. What is that exactly? That's 24 life. And we have down to 4 in hand because of the Undiscovered Paradise. Darian's going to take a draw for turn. Does he? I mean, we know he has the land. He gushed last turn. So you see another land. Can he go for another Dreadnought? Nope. Just passing to me. So I'm going to take an untap. and draw for turn. This about face probably going to be rotting in our hand for quite a while. Wouldn't be shocked if we had to pitch it to set up like a circular logic or something closer to the mid game. We'll get him for 5. Luckily, this Arrogant Wurm is providing a substantial clock. Darian will impulse at the end of my turn. Does he find anything? I mean, he's going to always find something he wants to take, but hopefully for his sake, maybe it's a Dreadnought. At this point, he has no clue what I have in hand, but the only way I really have to deal with a resolved Dreadnought is the Swords to Plowshares, which he's already seen one of, and he has way more pieces of permission than I have Swords to Plowshares to actually get rid of the Dreadnought. And here's the second threat from the Mono Blue Stiflenought deck. It's the Mishra's Factory, which is actually going to make it really hard for me to keep getting in with the Tireless Tribe, making it even more difficult to set up the about face. We are going to go to combat and probably just get in with this 4/4, and that looks like exactly what we're doing. Darian's going to take it because he's still got plenty of time before this becomes lethal, and then I'm just going to pass back. Looks like I'm holding cards in my hand, not interested in playing a land out. Really nothing to do on 4, so trying to conserve the ability to about face. Darian's going to Flash of Insight for 1 though at the end step. Now this just draws him a card because X equals 1, but the next time he casts it, he's basically going to Demonic Tutor a card into his hand at instant speed, which is very good. He's going to pay a mana, play Phyrexian Dreadnought. This is not good for us. I think let me see, our hand contains 1 circular logic, but our graveyard is nowhere near deep enough to be able to cast it without having to pitch cards for like no reason. He's going to stifle the Dreadnought. We don't like to see that. We would have preferred to see a Vision Charm here. Maybe that lets us get in. So we're going to pitch yet Rare Revelation, which is effectively dead. Game 1 and games 2 of the match, it probably is going to come out when we go to sideboarding. Then we're going to pitch City of Brass. So now there's 3 cards in the bin. So when we pitch this circular logic, we can cast it for its madness cost to the Tireless Tribe and try to deal with the Shrimp. We'll see if Darian has a follow-up. He's going to pitch 3 cards. One of them being foil, one being an island, and the other one happens to be on, but it doesn't matter, it can be anything. And that's going to be to counter my circular logic, meaning that Darian is going to be ending up with a Shrimp, it looks like here. I wonder if there's any follow-up. Nope, he's just going to pass. You don't really need much of a follow-up to a 2-turn clock, especially not when my hand is as anemic as it looks right now. We already returned the Undiscovered Paradise, so we play it back out. Say what you will about Undiscovered Paradise, but you make every single land drop when you put 3 of them in your deck like we have with this list. We're going to tap for 1, 2, 3. I wonder if it's just Call the Herd time. Looks like it. Yeah, we see a Call the Herd. I wonder if Darian wants to like daze potentially. Looks like he's floating a blue. This is a really good play here. He's waking up the Mishra's Factory with the blue and then dazing. That's going to make it so he doesn't take a single point of damage, and he doesn't have that awkward spot where like he has to block the Tireless Tribe instead of the Arrogant Wurm if I attack out to protect himself from about face. So I really like that play. Darian's getting in for his first attack for 12, which brings me straight down to 5. I'm not interested in blocking here. And then he's going to pass to me. So we take an on-tap, return that Undiscovered Paradise to our hand, and then I imagine we're just going to have to chip in with the Worm, which is exactly what we're doing. We're going to try to take Darian down to 11, which does work. And then we're going to go to our second main phase. We're going to play that Undiscovered Paradise back out for, I think, the 5th time this game or something like that, and then just pass back. Here, we're holding the about face. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm going to try a really weird play in a minute, and we'll see that. But first, we're going to do that flashed back Flash of Insight I was talking about. That reads oftentimes a lot like Demonic Tutor, because he's got so many blue cards. I think he did it for 7 here. So he's going to look at the top 7 and take 1 to his hand. The others are going to go to the bottom, and that's going to be really good here. My hand's pretty anemic. If he can simply find a counterspell, Darian probably will take this game down, even though he mulliganed to 4 on the draw. He finds the card that he wants. Everything else goes to the bottom. Does he have a follow-up, or are we just going to untap? Looks like he's grabbing his lands, and he thinks better of it. He's going to take an untap. He's going to get to rip a card for turn, and I would be shocked if he did anything other than turn this Dreadnought sideways, which is exactly what he does. We're going to block with the Tireless Tribe. Now, I remember this play because it was pretty desperate. It counts on Darian making a mistake. I'm going to pitch 1 card to make my Tireless Tribe a 1/5, another card to make Tireless Tribe a 1/9, and then I believe we're going to do a 3rd card to make Tireless Tribe a 1/13, and it'll be the Circular Logic. Now, this is something that I wouldn't recommend doing, but I really needed to get a resource out of Darian's hand, so I'm going to about face the Tireless Tribe, hoping that Darian doesn't realize that this kills me, because my defense of my Tireless Tribe is actually 1 right now. So Darian is going to impulse in response. Normally, he would just let this go and just kill me, but he's probably so focused on the fact that he's losing his Dreadnought, he's forgotten that this is just lethal. So we get him to use the impulse, and we get him to use the daze, and we're going to let the daze resolve and not pay for it. And then the Dreadnought isn't going to kill us because our about face did not resolve, meaning that gives us 1 more turn to potentially draw like a Swords to Plowshares. But this play was a little bit risky. It counted on Darian making a mistake. which he's a very tight player. This is just a weird spot, and you don't play against About Face all that often. Darian's going to pass. I'm going to untap everything. I do get this Undiscovered Paradise back. Hopefully I remember to do that. I'm going to get in for 5, which is just not lethal. I think the card that I drew is Wild Mongrel, which doesn't help us out of this spot. Yeah, we played the Undiscovered Paradise. We play the Mongrel. We're super duper dead on board. Darian's going to take this one down, and we're going to go to sideboard. Okay, getting into sideboarding, we're going to do a little 5 for 5 action. They're actually all going to be one-ofs. We're going to remove 1 Mother of Runes, Darian's threat, obviously, a colorless creature, so Mom's not going to give any protection. It is not Giver, we cannot choose colorless for our protection color. We're also going to lose Prismatic Strands for a very similar reason. You have to pick a color for the protection to get a fog, and Dreadnought continues to not have a color. We're going to lose the Glory, same thing as the first two, giving Pro a color. Sometimes blue can come up for Chain of Vapor, but it's very unlikely that Darian's going to value the card Chain of Vapor in this matchup, where every creature is so low to the ground, and if he ever has to convert one while there's a Dreadnought in play, he can get blown out. Then we're going to cut the Volcanic Spray. It simply does not do anything in the matchup. It's just raw material, and we never really want to cast our Quiet Spec to get Volcanic Spray. Same thing with Ray of Revelation. I would be shocked if he had a single enchantment to deal with using the Ray, so we want it out of our deck. In return, we're going to grab our first Disenchant from the sideboard, and we're also going to grab basically the same card, Naturalize. It's just green instead of white. And then we're going to grab a single Reprisal. Now, all 3 of the cards I just named functionally do the same thing. They kill a Dreadnought with the Disenchant and Naturalize having a bonus of being able to pop a, not the Phyrexian Furnace, he's not going to bring that in. The Mistress Factory, that'd be the one. So Disenchant, Naturalize, take out Factory. Reprisal takes out all 3, the Dreadnought and the Factory, which is really good. Then we're going to bring in our own Phyrexian Furnace, and this is simply because we saw Accumulated Knowledge, and we talked about it pre-game. I don't know if it came up in that game, but I am aware that he has Accumulated Knowledge in his deck. Not every Dreadnought deck will actually play this card, but he's on it. I'm actually a big fan of that card in that deck, typically, especially if you're on mono blue. But more importantly, it's going to make the Flash of Insight a lot harder to convert, which is something we're interested in. And the clunkiest card we're going to bring in is Aura of Silence. Not the biggest fan of bringing in Aura here because it is a 3-mana spell, but it simply is a way to deal with a resolved Dreadnought and make it harder to cast one. So I'm pretty interested in having that last Aura of Silence. Nothing else in our sideboard really has any text, and for the most part, we're not really keeping any cards in our deck that we hate to see post-board. So that's what we're going to do for sideboard. Let's get into game number 2. Okay, we're going into game 2 quite a bit more confident. We've got way more ways to deal with the resolved Dreadnought. Unfortunately, Dreadnought sometimes just has it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And this opening hand almost looks really good. We've got the Tireless Tribe About Face combo, but it's powered by 1 Windswept Heath, which isn't good enough. Luckily, Darian also going to 6, and we're going to take a look at our 6s, and hopefully we find like some mediocre card like About Face to go to the bottom. But looking at this hand, it's 1, 2, 3 copies of Gemstone Mine. I will tell you, Darian does keep his hand, and we're going to fast forward because it's my turn to mulligan down to 4 cards, only I'm on the play, so I'm minus effectively 4 on resources in this game, which is not good. Looking at the access to cards we have for this game, we don't want the redundant Mother of Runes. There's definitely 2 of those in the hand, and we probably only want to keep 2 of our lands tops. I imagine we want to keep at least one of those spells. I wonder which one it's going to be. Looks like, yeah, it looks like we're going to keep 2 spells, and we're going to ship 2 lands and 1 Mother of Runes. I think that makes sense. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do with just a Mother of Runes game 2. We kind of just hope Darian has the slow hand and that we can develop over the first couple of turns. We're going to jam the Mother of Runes, and then we're going to pass to Darian, who just plays an island and does have a turn 1 play. My personal favorite turn 1 play, it's a Portent. Darian's going to target himself, and does he like what he sees? Looks like it. He's going to leave it on top in an order of his choosing. Pass, he'll draw, then I'll draw for turn. I have to imagine we're going to get the Undiscovered Paradise into play just so we can have 3 mana on our 3rd turn. First, we'll attack for 1, because that's all Mother of Runes is 9 times out of 10. This matchup is a 1 mana 1/1. We'll play the Undiscovered Paradise and pass the turn. The other spell that we kept happened to be a Call of the Herd, which at least demands 2 counterspells as long as Darian isn't threatening to put us on a 2-turn clock, and he didn't have the turn 2 Dreadnought, so that's not all bad. The Circular Logic, not a super stellar top deck since we don't have a Madness Enabler, but it looks like we're going to, float the mana, play the Treva's Runes, tap for 2 more, and play Call of the Herd and see if Darian would like to respond to that. And from memory, I think he does, he counterspells here. A Daze would be a bit better, but this tells us that he probably doesn't have it, which is nice for potentially next turn if we draw some potent spell. We'll attack for 1, pass to Darian, who's going to draw a card, and he kept 6, so yeah, there's the 3rd land drop. That's not great for us. That means he's got a lot of options from like Counterspell plus Opt, Counterspell plus Chain of Vapor, whatever it might be. He's got tons of options. We're on my turn. We're going to attack for 1. We got Darian on a 20-turn clock, which I guess isn't nothing, but it's not great either. We've got a Tireless Tribe that we're going to cast. And I have to imagine we did not play out the Undiscovered Paradise. He's going to counterspell the Tireless Tribe, which I think actually makes sense. Then we'll play out the Undiscovered Paradise. I wonder if I was thinking that I should hold it if it resolves, and there's a chance that I actually would have. Darian's just going to draw, pass back to me. So I'll take a draw, and then it looks like it's an Arrogant Wurm, which is a pretty poor draw here considering the Tireless Tribe did not resolve, unfortunately. We're going to pass, so in response, Darian's going to AK, and AKs are kind of like Siege Rhinos. Once the first one's cast, you usually see the other ones cast in quick succession, so we'll see what happens here. Darian does miss land drop, thankfully. We're going to take a draw for turn. It looks like that was a Danger Dog, a Wild Mongrel, which is pretty sweet. We'll attack for 1, bring him down to 15, and then do we develop? I have to imagine we do. And yeah, do not tap the Undiscovered Paradise because we do not want it to go back to hand. We've got a flashbackable Call of the Herd in the graveyard. Darian lets it resolve, but yep, there it is. Like I said, AK for 2 this time. And now the likelihood that he finds a third one pretty high. That's going to be a 2-mana draw 3, which is as close to Ancestral Recall as you can get in this format. He's going to play a 4th land. And is it time for a Shrimp? It is not. He's passing back. So it looks like we've actually got a little bit of traction here. Our clock isn't super fast, but that dog can actually turn the corner pretty quick out of nowhere. And I do have the Arrogant Wurm in hand still, so if Darian ever taps too deep, I can try to flash it in response. Darian is going to AK to draw 3, which is just so many cards. I have to imagine we're getting shrimped next turn. I don't know if we can get out of it. He's going to draw for turn, and I think he's literally got 9 cards in hand. He plays a basic island, and then that's a tap for 1. There it is. That's a shrimp. Now, you usually just let the shrimp resolve, especially when I'm this anemic on resources, but this Stifle, I'm probably interested in interacting with. Unfortunately, my graveyard has only got 3 cards, and he's got 3 mana up, so I have to pitch this Tireless Tribe to the Mongrel first, and then I should be able to convert the Circular Logic. Now, Darian simply having a foil, a counterspell, anything like that's going to blow me out pretty hard, but he has to have it, and he does. He's going to pitch an island, plus it looks like an Impulse, in order to foil, and he's going to be left with a 12/12 shrimp. Does he have any follow-up? Looks like not, so he's going to pass to me. I'll take a little draw step, and our hand is, looks like land, which we're playing. It's a City of Brass, and I didn't get a good look at the last card we have in hand. I can't imagine we're attacking here. We're going to pass. Oh yeah, it's the Arrogant Wurm. So we're going to pass Darian Impulses, and this is actually a really good point to do this. We're going to flash in the Arrogant Wurm, and we're luckily playing around days. So that at least gives us 4, 5, 6, 7 power. Darian is up at 12, but I also did tap the Undiscovered Paradise, which is going to go back to hand. So it'll be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm 3 points short of lethal, unfortunately, but this is actually a little bit closer than it looks because Darian hasn't hit me with that shrimp yet. Going to draw for turn. Now he's going to turn sideways, which is going to bring me straight down to 7 life. And then we see a Mishra's Factory. There goes all my dreams down the toilet. I had a chance to like maybe find a card draw spell or something and then try to narrowly deal lethal to Darian with my creatures. But I think that factory locks us out for good. He's portenting. He once again likes his pile. I'm surprised that Darian didn't portent targeting me in that spot because I'm hellbent. But I guess he just felt like he didn't need to. I'll attack with the Arrogant Wurm. I can't imagine he's going to have anything to say about it. He's just going to go to, what is that, 8 life? And still not be on a 2-turn clock because of the Mishra's Factory. And if he needs to block with Dreadnought, sometimes Dreadnought's just a great blocker. Then we're going to play a land, it looks like. Yep, the Undiscovered Paradise, probably the 9th one of the video, and we're losing a life to tap for 4, which means a flashback of Call of the Herd. And I wonder if this is allowed to resolve. Looks like Darian doesn't think so. Counterspell, and there's the handshake. We get absolutely blown out, got 2-0 by Darian, who I will show a little image here. In this video, this is going to be the leaderboard going into the finals, which is happening this weekend. This is the leaderboard as of this event's conclusion, and those little asterisks you see next to the name are people who have won an event in this series. Darian's got 2. Darian goes on to win this entire event. We'll still be following my games for the remainder of the event, but I will tell you that for the championship series we have next weekend on Saturday, November 22nd, which by the way is an open championship series if you're anywhere near Southeast Michigan, feel free to stop by and play some games with us. But we will be recording Table 1 at that event, so we're going to get a big variety of decks, and the games will be edited and uploaded on this channel, so that'll be pretty sweet. But that's all I've got for you guys for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I think next round we're playing against The Rock, if you want something to look forward to. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you next time.